What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at the all-new Kia Sorento. This one is the X-Line SX Prestige all-wheel drive, finished off in jungle green with an MSRP a little over $48,000. So let's get right into this average priced, above average family crossover and see what this thing has to offer. Underneath the hood of the new Kia Sorento, you're going to find the 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, pumping out 281 horsepower with 311 pound-feet of torque. Has an 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, all-wheel drive with torque vectoring as well as a center locking differential. This SUV also runs on a 17.7-gallon fuel tank. You're looking at 20 miles per gallon in the city with 27 out on the highway. Curb weight is 4,200 pounds and max towing for this trim level is 3,500 pounds. The overall length is 189.8 inches with wheelbase at 110.8. Width is 74.8 and height is 70.3 inches. The all-new Kia Sorento is also fairly capable for a family crossover with approach angle at 18.4 degrees, ground clearance at 8.2 inches, and departure angle at 21.7 degrees. And then now moving on to the styling with the newest Kia Sorento. It's a pretty bold looking family crossover. I love the LED design for these headlights. As you can see, you get that really nice shape for the daytime running light as well as the turn signal. And then a quad beam LED design for the actual headlights themselves. The front grille has a really nice look with some gray accents as well as gloss black. There's a forward facing camera, lots of openings to provide cooling to the radiators as well as the intercooler. Got that new Kia badge up above. And then down below you do have some gloss black accent throughout the center with parking sensors, more openings down below to reach the rest of the intercooler and more coolers themselves, and then a gray color down below. On the far side you get a little trim piece as well, and it really comes together. This is a pretty bold looking crossover. I think they did a really good job styling, can't find a bad angle. Up on the hood you are going to see some nice sharp body lines as well on the far left and right side fading towards the windshield. Gives it a more boxy appearance as well as a modern look at the same time. You're going to see some of that plastic black material from the lower portion making its way around these wheel arches, and then we have a super unique design for these wheels. You got the Kia badge in the center, finished in gloss black, more of a 4-spoke design with these cool square shapes on each corner. So pretty unique. They are 20-inch diameter as well. And then you're going to see a nice sharp body line up above with a trim piece going into the door. And then down below there is a plastic material for the lower rocker panel with a sharp line in the lower door, and then body color door handles as well. You're also going to see gloss black for the mirror caps with an LED turn signal. They are power folding. You can see more gloss black trim throughout all of the windows. There's a nice trim piece for the rear section, and then gloss black up on these roof rails. There's going to be a panoramic sunroof up on top, and then moving to the whole side profile has really good proportions for a mid-size crossover, but this is a 3-row vehicle, so it's actually pretty roomy inside for being not a jumbo SUV. I like how all the windows come to a point towards the rear, and then you have a nice body line around the rear fender arch just to give it just a tad bit of width. Up above we have an integrated spoiler coming off the roof with a massive third brake light as well as a camera, some nice trim surrounding the rear window, and then the LED taillights have a really cool design. Kind of a split design to them with that running light in them. Sharp angles throughout the rear end with your Kia badge and backup camera. Got a Sorento logo, sharp body lines throughout the liftgate, your X-line as well, and then some plastic material down below. You have one of your reflectors, some plastic black, as well as some gunmetal gray. So overall the new Sorento definitely comes together. I think it's a pretty bold looking crossover with a nice look overall. Taking a look at the key fob, you're going to get lock and unlock on the one edge along with the liftgate release. Then you also have remote start on the backside. Tapping the upper button, we can go ahead and lock the SUV, and then just by grabbing the door handle, it's going to automatically unlock, and we can take a look at the interior. This one's going to have the sage leather interior, so there is genuine leather throughout the interior on this crossover. And then for the door panel, you're going to get this black material with a soft touch along with a nice silver trim accent. Massive design for the release handle with memory seating, this cool wood feeling design, and then you can see this leather material throughout the door panel with contrast stitching. Padded armrest, large grab handle, all the different window and mirror controls, and then storage down below with a Bose audio system. We have Sorento on the door sill, and then all of your power controls on the seat. We even do have an adjustable leg rest. You're going to see the smooth leather along with perforated leather throughout the centers. I really like this cool design with all the stitching. Certainly a premium looking seat. You also have the X-line embossed into the leather up above. Smooth design for those headrests. And then a really nice two-tone steering wheel with the black leather along with the sage color throughout the center. And then now inside the new Sorento, keep my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. You're gonna get the two screens turning on. We have the Kia badge right in the center. And then on this left side, you're gonna see some Bluetooth and audio controls. We also have cruise control settings on the right, along with your distance pacing. We also have the lane intervention. And then this icon right here, you can scroll left and right through the center screen. You're gonna be able to see a few different things that are gonna pop up, some trip information. You can also continue down into some more information like that, tire pressure, as well as your all-wheel drive. You have a pretty cool display with your miles per hour on the left side, your tach on the right, and then a few vitals all throughout the center. You can see we have a set of steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, and then on the back side, you're gonna see windshield wiper stock, as well as headlight controls on the left. To the left of the actual steering wheel, we have our interior dimming, the lift release, traction control. Nice design on this air vent, and then you can see just some nice trim. You have that wood material, and then this cool leather material throughout the dash. So you have nice soft touch materials. This does have a texture to it for the wood trim, so it looks and feels quite nice. And then moving to the multimedia screen, this is Kia's newest design. You have these large tiles that are really easy to operate. You can see everything popping up. You'll have full screen navigation, audio controls, things like that. And then if we go ahead and pop it into reverse, you're gonna get your backup camera on the left side, a top-down view. And then you can also toggle different views. So we can get a top-down of the rear of the car, your rear wheels. You can also get that one as well. There's gonna be a 360 camera view as well. Settings you're able to adjust within the screen, and then if we pop it back into park, that will all go away. You're also going to get the turn signal cameras, which is a great touch, and the parking sensors did pop up in the center screen in reverse. Down below that, you're going to get your air vents, and then this control panel has two functions. We can toggle the fan speed and see all the climate controls, and then that one right there gets you to all the audio. We have volume on the left, front and rear defrost. You can see a few more track icons, a few shortcuts to everything. Going under climate, you can adjust your temperature now. We have AC, fan speed, zone, and sync, and then those ones will also remain the same. Down below, you have some extra USB ports, storage, wireless phone charging, and heated and ventilated seating. Very easily, you can adjust everything, which is a great touch to see. We have our shifter with a leather shift boot, and then down below, we have some drive modes. So we can toggle this, and you can go into all sorts of different modes. It'll also pop up on the screen. We have the normal, and you can see how everything will change just a little bit. You can also lock your center differential. We have the heated steering wheel, auto hold, parking sensors, shortcut to the cameras as well, and then extra storage on the far right side. We have some of that sage color for your padded armrest, and then a lot of extra storage all throughout the center, same within front. Glove box on the right side, pretty large bucket as expected. And then one last look at the interior. I like the layers and textured look to the dashboard. Everything really does come together quite nicely. It feels like a premium luxury car for a very average price point. Up above that panoramic sunroof, you can see how the shade has been opened up. You're gonna get all those controls right here with your dome lights with a touch sensitive design. We also have the integrated rear view mirror with the camera system, garage door openers underneath it, and then the whole headliner is a micro suede. So you can see that really cool look to it, same with the sunshade. We have a massive design for those, and a really nice look overall. Moving on to the rear seat space, if I grab the door handle and open it up, the door panel is going to look very similar to the front with that sage color along with the two-tone material design. Got the massive grab handle, there's an extra storage cubby, you have heated rear seat, storage down below, and a nice set of manual sunshades. You can also see this is going to get you the captain's chair. So we have two nice individual seats back here, finished in all the same materials. They have manual controls for recline as well as slide forwards and back. And then there's going to be an adjustable armrest in the center. So pretty nice the way that's going to work. There's going to be a storage net as well inside for some smaller items like a cell phone. Then there's air vents down below, a few extra plugs, all located underneath the console, and then storage cubbies behind these seats. In order to operate these, you can just press this button down here. Seat's going to slide forward to give you better access into the third row, where you're going to find two seats. And with it back, the rear seats passengers have that same button as well. You can also pull the recline lever, and these are going to fold downwards, locking flat for extra storage. So hopping into the back seat with the newest Kia Sorento. So I'm 5'11" with the driver's seat at my height. This is a pretty nice place to be. With the roof opened up, I still have plenty of headroom, as you can tell. There are grab handles as well as lights up in the ceiling. Even with the roof closed, it still doesn't hinder any of your headroom. So really nice for that. Driver's seat's at my height. I have like 9 inches of legroom, and footroom is definitely ample. And the recline of the seat goes back pretty far with the adjustable armrest, of course. It's a good place. If you're looking for this as your family SUV, this is gonna be a nice place. The seat is well padded. I can even slide it way forwards and way back, and with it all the way back for sure. I mean, this is pretty luxurious feeling, especially for the price point. That's pretty mind-blowing. This is sub 50 grand. And yet it is quite nicely equipped in the second row. On top of that, there are going to be extra USB-Cs on the back sides of these driver's seats. So rear seat passengers definitely got it well made back here. All right, so now hopping into the third row with the Sorento. So keep in mind, this is not the biggest SUV out there. So sitting here, I'm definitely a little on the smush side. These seats are kind of on the floor, so my knees are very high up. You do get USB ports on this side, a little bit extra storage down below. And then on the other side, you can also see the same thing with little cup holders and storage. There's a small grab handle in this, which is nice. And if I go ahead and pull this seat back, it's definitely not bad. I mean, you're basically sitting on the floor in a comfortable chair, but with the captain chairs, you can at least spread out a little bit. So in a pinch, this wouldn't be too bad. My head is kind of touching the ceiling a little bit, so not exactly ideal for grown-ups, but if you need it in a pinch, these are here. If you have little kids back here, probably won't have any issue. But overall, not bad for being not a jumbo SUV. Pretty useful overall. Moving on to the cargo space, the button is going to be located underneath this lower edge. You can press that, automatically open up the lift gate. Now with the third row up, you have a little over 12 cubic feet of cargo space back here. You can lift up the bottom here with this latch, and you're gonna get just a little extra hidden space. So not too bad back here with that up. You can see how the headrest will also operate independently by just pulling that, and then of course we can fold these down. So just manually doing it very easily, and you now have about 45 cubic feet of cargo space back here. You have a speaker, of course you can get another look at the storage. That was gonna be all around everything. So pretty roomy once again, and then you are gonna get extra buttons right here to operate the second row. So just pressing those buttons, you have about 75 cubic feet of cargo space with all of this flat floor. So quite roomy and practical vehicle. We have the buttons up here. We can tap that, go ahead and close the lift gate, and then making our way back inside, you can see everything folded nice and flat. So this is definitely gonna be a pretty good, useful family vehicle for people as well as cargo. So setting off in the new Sorento. Not too bad from the transmission. We're in sport mode, so it is gonna hold gears a little bit more aggressively, which is kind of a cool touch to it. You're gonna notice throttle response is slightly sharper into that mode. We'll go back into just normal mode now, get our bearings with this new Sorento. It's a pretty nice car to be in. I feel nice and high up, kind of like a typical crossover. You have a really flat dashboard, so you get a really good view out the front. I love the rear view camera, that makes it super easy. Visibility over your left side's all pretty good. Over your right and left shoulder, not too bad. Of course, that C-pillar way in the back behind the third row, it's a little big, but nonetheless, honestly, I don't really see any major issues with visibility. Seems pretty nice. The engine's power delivers pretty well. Now with the dual clutch transmission, it's different than a CVT or a torque converter automatic. So in the slow speed, you do have to get a little bit of throttle for it to engage a little bit. So you might notice it driving slightly different than your typical automatics. But when you are driving, it's nice and smooth. The suspension's doing a pretty good job absorbing bumps. It's pretty confident even taking turns. So if you're gonna be taking this on a weekend mountain trip or something, you know, going through some sweeping turns, it's a pretty stable platform to where I feel like it's pretty confident in the road. The seats also have pretty good padding to them, really can't complain. Of course, with the ventilated option, all the controls in this car, it's a easy vehicle to get comfortable, especially having a leg rest. You know, at my height, I can really get in a perfect spot in this car and just fit really nice and comfortable. I don't see any shortcomings as far as maneuverability. I wouldn't mind the steering wheel maybe pulling out a little bit farther. It definitely goes way into the dash, but I wouldn't mind it just having a slightly longer design. But nonetheless, you can still get in a pretty good spot. I have, you know, a good reach, so it's not crazy bad or anything like that. So I think a lot of people are gonna be able to sit in this pretty nice and comfortable using the technology. Now this is a lot more simple than previous generations. I do like this a lot better with these large tiles. It's very easy to just hit something and see information in the car, and then just swiping, it's pretty snappy as well. There's really not all that many settings in here that you're really gonna be going through, to be honest. You're really just gonna have your audio and then maybe navigation. Climate controls, again, I'm not the biggest fan of how you have to tap that little tiny fan icon to see all the information here, especially when you're driving. I mean, that is a tiny thing the size of your fingertip, and if you're kind of bouncing a little bit, it's just a little bit of a distraction. You gotta take your eyes off the road to make that adjustment. If we hit this big bump now, the driving abilities, the road quality and everything seems pretty solid. Now, for being an average price point car, you know, you would not expect it to be like an Audi or a Mercedes, which if you spec one out like this, honestly, you're probably going to be pushing $70,000. So there is one little aspect with this car to where it doesn't feel like that level of a car. This is certainly no ultra refined European car, but it also does not cost even a fraction of those cars, and yet you get all the nice materials and a really cool design inside now. So you're getting a pretty luxurious car with all sorts of fantastic features without spending the European money. You're just getting a little bit less road quality. It's not quite as refined, but you know, for the average person, this is probably going to be a quite nice driving experience. So my honest thoughts with the newest Kia Sorento, I think overall they did a pretty good job, especially when you look at the price point. There's other cars that are in the same category that are the same level of car. Obviously this isn't a European vehicle to where you would expect something like this to be like 70 grand plus. So at this level, when you compare it to the competition, I feel like you're getting a really good value, a good bang for the buck. Build quality seems pretty solid enough, going faster on those train tracks. Really nice and smooth, and these windows are actually double pane glass. You can feel the two panes there, which is a nice touch to make this pretty insulated. And when you're driving this, you know, you kind of get that. So it's nice that there is enough refinement in this car to where it feels nicer than its price point, I would say. And I think that's where you get the bang for the buck, especially from a Kia. You know, they've done such a good job in the last 15 years, I would say, becoming a very nice car brand. And even in the last 4 years where the economy's in the tubes, the prices of everything are so high and everything has been getting more expensive, the fact that you can get one of these loaded Kias for an average price point where I don't think anybody's going to bat an eye at under 50 grand for a 3-row SUV that has real leather, navigation, 360 cameras, I mean a suede material for the headliner, I think you get a really good bang for the buck. So I really can't find any true complaints with it. My only complaint would be I'm just not the biggest fan of the thing down here. I know a lot of cars have it to where you have to go into the screen, different menus to adjust climate controls. While they technically are right there, it is a distracting, especially if I'm on a curvy road like this. Like, that is not something I'm going to be adjusting at all unless I'm flat ground, straight, making sure there's no cars before I make an adjustment. Other cars, there's always a dial that you can just grab and touch with your fingers and actually feel it without even looking at it. So I'm just not a fan. I really have to think about touching that and then really think about tapping the fan speed, and it's a distraction. So I'm just not a fan of that. I like physical buttons. I think it wouldn't look ugly with a basic fan controller and temperature controller. It would have looked just as nice. So that's probably my one complaint with the car. It's kind of nitpicky. I'm sure if you use this day to day, month after month, you probably get really used to it. I've been in a lot of the Kias that have this, just not the biggest fan of that one little spot. Other than that though, the radar cruise works really good. They've always done a great job. It works so good keeping you in the lane. It practically can drive itself. This coming in under 50, I think, makes it really well worth taking a look at the new Sorento. I've been very impressed with it for sure. Got great range on the fuel economy as well. So I think this is definitely a really good option for the family. So that is it for the new Kia Sorento. Nearly top of the line one. Sweet option to go for, sub 50 grand. Can't complain too much. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for plenty more content, and we'll see you all in the next video.